And welcome back, my friends. It is April 10th, 2023, and we have a bunch of stuff to talk about right now. What you're seeing on your screen right now was just a little while ago an M2 class solar eruption from the sun. This is on the left limb of the sun. So this means this is an incoming sunspot that's already showing signs of some pretty intense action. Not only that, but I caught some crazy anomalies right after this took place. And for those of you that watch this channel on a regular basis, you know we are starting to realize that these anomalies 99% of the time take place just after a solar eruption. Now, I got to take you over to the USGS because we have some pretty significant seismic activity going on. In fact, just moments ago, a 4.5 struck Ferndale, California at 18.1 kilometers in depth. Super shallow earthquake, fairly strong earthquake for this area. And once again, it took place at the cross sections of a few different fault lines. Now, if you remember yesterday, we were talking specifically about the Juan de Fuca fracture zone, the Blanco fracture zone, all within the Cascadia subduction zone. I know that's a mouthful, but that is what these fault lines are called. Also take note of this earthquake that just took place. A 4.0 also downgraded from a 4.5 just 100 miles away from that buoy that we've been talking about that has been going off almost on a daily basis. In fact, I marked it up for us here on Google Earth so you can see what I'm talking about. The earthquake took place right about here, and then our buoy that has been getting set off or tested or whatever they're doing with this thing, it still makes no sense to me whatsoever, is sitting right at that 90-degree angle of the Juan de Fuca fracture zone and the Blanco fracture zone. And this is a very popular area for earthquakes. So again, in my last video, I was speaking about how they are triggering this buoy over and over and over again, almost as if they're preparing for something significant to take place. Now, before I get into why I believe these two specific earthquakes have taken place, and it involves space weather and the pressure on the Earth's magnetic field, I just want to show you that we are no strangers to what this subduction zone can produce. This was back in 2021 where we had a 50 earthquake swarm on the Blanco fracture zone right at that 90-degree angle we talk about, keeping in mind that buoy is right about in this area, the one that has been being triggered over and over again. And for whatever reason, they are keeping it in the public. They are allowing the website to show this thing going off. And as you can see, finally today, they have not activated the buoy. You can see the last signature right here was on the 7th. For the first time in a significant amount of time, we've gone a few days without the buoy actually being triggered. But I just find it very, very interesting that we just had a 4.0 downgraded from a 4.5, just like the one in Ferndale, California that just took place, happening close enough to this buoy to where if the earthquake was big enough, would in fact set off that buoy. Alright, so I apologize in advance because we got to take this step by step and really understand the progression of events that have been taking place that absolutely lead to seismic activity and or weather enhancement on the Earth. And we saw that happen with that tornado outbreak. We were literally getting hit by a major solar storm while that outbreak took place. And there were articles all over the place talking about how the sun and the solar wind particles that affect the Earth's magnetic field 100% can affect weather or enhance it. This has happened with hurricanes in the past, and I don't really believe in coincidences, so I know that that tornado outbreak was influenced by high-speed solar wind. Now, I want you to notice this black spot right here on the sun. Many of you know what these are. These are coronal holes. Basically, picture them as openings in the sun that then allow particles to shoot directly towards Earth. This is exactly Earth-facing, a little bit north of the equator of where the Earth would be. In fact, the Earth would be about right there, but we're talking about an amount of space that is many times larger than Earth. So this solar wind has been beating down on us for a few days now. And if we jump to the solar wind chart, which is right here in the purple, we can clearly see that we have had a dramatic rise in the wind speed or the solar particle wind speed. We're at nearly 600 kilometers per second. That is an extremely fast speed. You can kind of see what the average is when the sun is being calm, around 400 kilometers per second. It jumps up and down as we get solar flares or coronal holes and things like that. But since this coronal hole was dead center on Earth, it's shooting that continuous stream of solar wind at Earth, and that is why we are seeing these high numbers in solar wind. So not only do we have this coronal hole that is currently just spewing that solar wind at Earth, causing more and more stress on the magnetic field, we now have incoming sunspots that are showing a lot of activity. So we're going to be under an earthquake watch for the next 5 to 7 days as these two sunspots start making their way towards Earth facing. And once again, that is what I showed you right here on this screen. This is the M-class solar flare that just took place on that outer limb that is moving left to right towards the Earth, and it is being monitored very closely because of the activity it's already showing. So now that we're getting an understanding of what this solar wind can do to the Earth as a whole, as I said, when it comes to seismic activity or weather, and that's another thing we're going to talk about in a moment. Florida is going to be getting hit with a pretty significant storm just as we're getting hit with yet another solar storm, which affects the Earth in many ways. Now take a look at which affects the Earth in many ways, and we're also going to talk about this briefly. The Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and panhandle of Florida are preparing to get hit with a significant low pressure system. As you can see here, this says April 12th. If we move into the 13th, you can see it kind of buckles. As we move into the 13th, you kind of see it shoot north right into the panhandle of Florida, maybe that border of Alabama. But regardless, the point I'm trying to make here is the timing of what we're seeing with these sunspots coming in from the left limb of the sun. By the time we reach the 12th, 13th, and 14th, these sunspots are going to be right in this area. And as I've shown you already, they are active, they are launching CMEs, and if these sunspots do continue to produce that energy and those explosions, we could be looking at a situation where the CME impact or that solar wind we just talked about would be hitting the Earth's atmosphere just as this storm, which is getting some pretty significant attention on the news, and in fact could be enhanced by the fact that we could be dealing with a solar storm at the same exact time. Now, I can't sit here and tell you this is a guarantee. All I'm saying is that there's a lot of things lining up right now as far as the weather and the seismic activity that it seems like it's too good to be true for these things to not be related. You could basically see as the sun was coming up in California, which is when that solar wind would be hitting this part of the world, we had these two earthquakes. One again by the buoy we've been talking about for days now, and then yet another stronger 4.5 in Ferndale, California. In fact, I want to take a look down in this area. Again, you can see where that first downgraded earthquake took place, 4.5 downgraded to a 4.0, and then there's our buoy that was being triggered over and over. But let's go down into Ferndale, California and see just exactly where this took place. Take a look at that. This thing basically happened on the beach. We're talking what, maybe a few 100 yards away from the coastline of Ferndale, California. If we backtrack a little bit here, we can see we have plenty of population in this area. I'm sure plenty of people have felt this quake. Unfortunately, I can't find it yet on Volcano Discovery where they actually do have the user reports that come up. I'm sure that will come in time. And just to take a quick break, I don't believe what I just saw. They have now taken that 4.5 earthquake off the USGS. That is absolutely crazy. We were just looking at that. You could backtrack in the video all you want. That earthquake was there. It had a depth, and we even marked that sucker right here on the coast of Ferndale. This is unbelievable. I want to do a quick refresh on the USGS here to see if this is some sort of glitch, but they have removed this 4.5 earthquake. I can't believe it. I know you guys saw it. I got an alert on my phone about it, everything. And now it is completely gone. A 4.5 earthquake removed from the USGS right in front of our eyes. Oh man, my friends, that is just unbelievable. So with that, this is what I'm going to leave you with. I'm going to hit play on this video. You're going to see that M2 class solar flare take place right about here, and then you're going to see the anomaly I found, which I told you 99% of the time pop up after these CMEs happen, almost as if they're attracted to the energies. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play, watch this area. There's the CME right there, and then watch right here. Boom. You see that little streak right there? And as I always do, I give you guys the time frame so you can go check this out yourself. It's right down here in the corner. April 10th at 8:14:25 UTC. Take a look at this thing. This was directly after that CME had taken place down here on the left limb of the sun. We're going to zoom right in on this thing and take a look at it because it's got a very defined shape to it. You can see the top edge there. It's got a little trail coming off the back end of it. And then we see that distinct line that we've seen before. The frame rate on these cameras is so high that these things could be moving so fast that that's why we're seeing a tail of some sort. But in this particular image, it almost looks like it's got particles coming off the back end of the initial object, which is right here, the highlighted white area, and then the reflection of the sun may have caused the beam. But nonetheless, this is just an unbelievable shot. Once again, right after a CME takes place on the sun, I must have 50 videos of these things now and still have yet to get any sort of answers. I've heard everything from ships trying to harness energy from these CMEs to dust particles. I find that very hard to believe that these are dust particles, because why would they be happening during CMEs? I don't know, my friends. Your guess is as good as mine, but right now we are looking at the effects of the solar wind from our sun causing disruptions on the Earth's crust, and in the very near future may enhance some significant weather that's coming up through the Gulf. Alright, my friends, sorry again about the longer videos. There's just a lot of information to get out. I cannot believe they removed this earthquake from this area in Ferndale, California. That was a clear-cut 4.5. I'm going to do some research to see if anyone felt it. In fact, please leave comments down below if you did feel it. If you live in this area of California, let me know if you felt this earthquake, because that is just wild that during the filming of this video, it was completely removed after showing it to you. Alright, everybody, I hope you're having a good beginning to your afternoon. I will be back later on, if not tomorrow, but I think there's plenty to talk about when it comes to all these different situations taking place at the same time. It's almost the perfect series of events that is causing some very weird anomalies and very weird situations on our planet. Alright, I appreciate each and every one of you. Shout out to Canada, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye. Stop right there, my friends. If you have not already, click that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Click all and you will get all notifications from this channel. And trust me, you won't be disappointed.